I'll tell the lawyer.
And call this meeting of the Oskaloosa City Council to order. Today is Monday, January 5th, 2026. Happy New Year, everyone. We start with the invocation from First Assembly of God.
Please join me in prayer. Father, thank you for tonight, God. What an amazing day, a brand new year, Father. And I just pray tonight over the City Council, all the staff, Father, that you will guide and direct, give them wisdom, give them integrity, give them courage, Father. And I pray also for their families tonight, wherever they're at, Father, and just comfort them. But more than anything, we love you, and we're excited what you have planned for this new year. It's in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor. Would you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Ibrahim?
Here.
Sword?
Here.
Allman?
Here.
Caligari?
Here.
Dross?
Here.
Hermson?
Here.
Holmberg?
Here. Okay. First item up is to, actually make sure everyone here is supposed to be sitting in the chairs. We have oaths of office that need to be done. So I think we start off with me.
Start with the mayor.
Okay.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, David Kreutzfeld, do solemnly swear
I, David Kreutzfeld, do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Iowa,
and the Constitution of the State of Iowa,
and that I will faithfully and impartially,
and I will faithfully and impartially,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
discharge the duties of mayor in Oskaloosa, Iowa,
discharge the duties of mayor in Oskaloosa, Iowa,
as now or hereafter required by law.
as now or hereafter required by law. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm just texting you.
Ron Ullman, you're next.
It's not as nerve-wracking the second time.
Mostly in person.
Remember doing this?
It's
Raise your right hand, repeat after me. I, Ron Ullman, do solemnly swear.
I, Rhonda Almond, do solemnly swear.
I will support the Constitution of the United States
I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Iowa,
and the Constitution of the State of Iowa,
and that I will faithfully and impartially,
and I will faithfully and impartially,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
discharge the duties of Third Ward Council Member
discharge the duties of Third Ward Council Member
in Oskaloosa, Iowa,
in Oskaloosa, Iowa,
as now or hereafter required by law.
as now or hereafter required by law.
You're in. Janet Hermson.
They're really scary as the first one.
Please raise your right hand, repeat after me. I, Janet Hermson, do solemnly swear
I, Janet Hermson, do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Iowa,
and the Constitution of the State of Iowa,
and that I will faithfully and impartially,
and that I will faithfully and impartially,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
discharge the duties of First Ward Council Member
discharge the duties of First Ward City Council Member
in Oskaloosa, Iowa,
in Oskaloosa, Iowa,
as now or hereafter required by law.
as now or hereafter required by law.
Congratulations. Andy Holberg.
Gotta do it again.
Yeah.
I'm thinking you've done this
Yeah.
less than 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Raise your right hand, repeat after me. I, Andy Holmberg, do solemnly swear
I, Andy Holberg, do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I'll support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Iowa,
and the Constitution of the State of Iowa,
and that I will faithfully and impartially,
and that I will faithfully and impartially,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
discharge the duties of at-large council member
discharge the duties of at-large council member
in Oskaloosa, Iowa,
in Oskaloosa, Iowa,
as now or hereafter required by law.
as now or hereafter required by law.
Congratulations. You're
Last but not least.
Javin seems to know that he's next. Raise your right hand, repeat after me. I, Javin Sword, do solemnly swear
I, Javin Sword, do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Iowa,
and the Constitution of the State of Iowa,
and that I will faithfully and impartially,
and that I will faithfully and impartially,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
discharge the duties of at-large council member
discharge the duties of at-large council member
in Oskaloosa, Iowa,
in Oskaloosa, Iowa,
as now or hereafter required by law.
as now or hereafter required by law.
Congratulations.
I think the first time
You
was
guys
a lot.
will just be bored.
Yeah, we'll be. Yeah, I know. Andy, you should have it memorized.
I say, yeah, you should just, yeah.
Every morning, huh?
Always that last line that seems to be extra long.
Last one, when am I gonna forget that?
I always mess it up.
So, next item up on the agenda is community comments. This item is reserved to receive comments from the community for concerns whether or not they're included in the current agenda. Community is encouraged to speak before the mayor and council, asked to keep statements brief, time limited to no more than 3 minutes. Any questions are to be asked of the city staff, the council members, or the mayor prior to speaking to the full council, so concerns can be properly researched and answered away from the meeting. Comments are to be directed to the mayor and council only. For those wishing to provide comment during the meeting, there's a yellow slip that is on the podium. Folks can sign up that way. And then the mayor will call the name to step forward for public comment at that time. To ensure a productive meeting and that all voices can be heard, we ask that side conversations be kept to a minimum. And thank you for helping us maintain a quiet atmosphere so that everyone in the meeting can follow the discussion. Before opening that up, I did want to make one additional comment though. At the last meeting, there was a question that was asked it was a call that said, you know, when someone is speaking, can they yield their time to someone else? And it kind of stopped me in my track because it was the first time I had seen that. And so at that time we permitted it, but it did put me to researching. So I was given several years ago a copy of Robert's Rules of Order by my wife Jane. And in there's a nice note that, you know, hope you can find this useful, and it took a number of years, but it is. So on page 388, looking at line number 11, it says, and this is in the rules regarding debate and other discourse, rights in regard to debate are not transferable. Unless the organization has a special rule on the subject, a member cannot yield or any unexpired portion of his time to another member, or reserve any portion of his time for a later time. That is, if a member yields the floor before speaking his full time, he is presumed to have waived his right to the remaining time. There's an asterisk on this. That the rule reflects the traditional parliamentary principles. The House of Representatives, for example, has a different rule that permits control of all time by a single member or leaders of the opposing sides of the question. The House rule also prevents members to whom has been yielded for debate as far as making motions. So that's Robert's rules. If you get into the code for the city of Oskaloosa, section 2.8, talking about rules and records, states the city council shall determine its own rules and shall maintain records of its proceedings consistent with the laws of the state of Iowa. And so, as mayor, what I have done is I attempt to stay as close to Robert's rules as I can, but ultimately, the city of Oskaloosa can make its own rules and operate the way that it sees fit. And so, as far as the notion of whether a person can come up and say, yes, I want to yield my time to another, we have no special rule. And my interpretation of Robert's rules is that we will allow the 3 minutes to each speaker. And so, with that in mind, we only have one speaker who's asked to speak tonight. Louis Boussard, would you please come forward?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And on behalf of the concerned citizens of Oskaloosa, Happy New Year to you all as well. Hopefully, some of you made it to midnight. I haven't the past few years. It'll be brief tonight. I've been in communication with the mayor, and we think it's fortunate that we're going to be allowed to do a presentation. We're going to meet with Mr. Metcalf probably at 5 o'clock on the day of the next, was that the 19th, I think, the next meeting, for a work session. And we'll go over what we need to do that presentation. It'll be very comprehensive, be about the EdmondsonExposé.com. I also reached out to Mr. Timms, and with respect to the capital improvement list, he tells me that it was kind of kicked back to him a little bit to do some revisions. I think that's probably a pretty good idea. I know that I left off last time that there were 32 items on the capital improvement for 26 to 30. 27 of those were repeats that had not been accomplished during the previous 5 years. Hopefully, we can get those ironed out, and we'll wait to see that revision. We actually had a meeting today of our own, and it seems that things are kind of heading in the right direction. We've heard some positive things. So we don't have much more to add today. We're looking forward to the work session, and hopefully we can get that presentation for you on the 19th, whatever date it is for the next meeting. That's it for today.
Okay.
And I'm going to yield back my time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, moving on. Next up is the consent agenda. The items on it are routine in nature, all voted upon with a single vote. There are a few carve-out or a few areas that I wanted to mention. Item E is the reappointment of a representative to the Board of Adjustment for Royce Spolstra. The reappointment on item F is a representative to the Historic Preservation Commission for Cheryl Benson. And I am appointing myself to the Mahaska County Solid Waste Commission. That is item G. Do we have a motion of support for the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Sword,
Yes.
Almond,
Yes.
Caligiuri,
Yes.
Dross,
Yes.
Hermson,
Yes.
Holmberg,
Yes.
Ibrahim.
Yes.
Okay, that passes. Getting into the regular agenda. First up is to consider an ordinance amending chapter 6.04. This is the animal control that we've been working on for some time now. The proposed ordinance and chapter amendment would correct superficial errors in the previous code, eliminate registration requirements for domestic animals within the city limits. It also puts a minor fee for dangerous dog appeal requests. This would be returned if there was a successful appeal, and it also would help eliminate frivolous appeals requests. The amendment would also allow for alternate enforcement action penalties, and we spent some time talking about that in the past as well. So animal leash law and animal at-large violations, nuisance animal noise, animal immunization violations, and violation of the dangerous dog ordinance are all mentioned in here. Do we have a motion of support for this?
So moved. Second.
Okay, any discussion on this first reading? Roll call, please.
Almond,
Yes.
Caligiuri,
Yes.
Dross,
Yes.
Hermson,
Yes.
Holmberg,
Yes.
Ibrahim.
Yes.
Sword,
Yes.
Okay, that passes. Item B, this is consideration and action on amending chapter 10.60 of the Oskaloosa City Code. This has to do with abandoned or junk vehicles to provide expanded authority to the police department relative to moving or impounding those vehicles. So the city code in 10.60 addresses the issue of abandoned and junk vehicles and disposing of them. City has been having problems with vehicles due to the reluctance of towing companies to tow and impound some of the vehicles and get them removed from the roadways. So to address this and provide some expanded power for the police department, it's proposed that chapter 10.60 be amended to add additional alternative steps that can be taken to remove them from public roadways, impound them. I believe the cost would be $100 a day for those vehicles. Do we have a motion of support for this first reading?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion on it?
I have a couple questions. Go ahead, Rhonda.
Oh, sorry, Andy. Is there a place that we found that we're going to? You're laughing, Ben.
Would you be willing to come to the microphone, Ben?
I was just no, just because I know there's
So we don't have a great place, but the brush dump has a fenced-off area that we have decided to use for now to see how this goes. Thankfully, we don't have a lot of these issues right now, but we had one that was a real problem between Scott's department and my department, and we had no real mechanism to get rid of it. So we had Dave Dixon write this up for us. Until we find a better area or a better solution, we're going to use the brush dump for right now.
I was going to ask about just a ballpark number or numbers that you think we might see this action.
The goal of this is to not let people just drag their RVs into the street, so we have to dispose of them. So we've only had one recently. We have had, in the 7.5 years I've been here, probably a handful, less than 5. But when people aren't willing to take care of it themselves, it becomes a big issue, and then our record services are like, we're going to get stuck with it. We are not going to tow for you. So this helps alleviate some of those issues.
And maybe this is a question for Dave. I guess it could be you, Ben. Is there a limit on that $100 a day? How many days will it accrue?
I think realistically what would happen, the city would, there's some time frames otherwise in the ordinance that if it's not reclaimed, city could just dispose of it, so it's not going to sit there forever and just continue to infinity.
Would that go against their home? Where would that money be recouped then?
Well, try to get it assessed on tax rolls if you can. I mean, the problem otherwise, you can get a judgment against somebody, but in truth, many times general judgment's not going to come lean on your homestead. If you get it, however, assessed on tax rolls, then you know it is going to have to be paid. So
we don't have like a time frame. Once they impound something.
I'm speaking from memory. Ben, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm thinking in there's provision if they've not reclaimed it within 10 days.
Okay.
Is that not?
I believe it was 7, if I remember
7?
correctly.
Okay.
All right. Oh, so there is a time.
Yeah, it's fairly short.
We're just going to hold it temporarily, give them a chance to reclaim it. And
Right.
if they don't, within 7 days, we can start moving forward and
Right.
disposing.
Yeah, I think that takes care of me.
We don't want to have a junkyard of RVs.
You don't see this as a big
No, I know, you
That's
don't.
exactly what I thought, though.
If you're going to use the brush dump, I got one more question. Brush dump for right now, is that going to be put like in the back side of the brush dump?
Yes, there's a fenced area back there. It's
Oh,
not the
okay.
most secure ever, but most of these don't need much security. They're
All
junk.
right. And it's out of sight, out of mind too.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah,
Okay.
Very good. Yeah.
very diplomatic. Okay. Any other thoughts, comments, questions? Roll call, please.
Calaburi,
Yes.
Dross,
Yes.
Hermison,
Yes.
Holberg,
Yes.
Ibrahim,
Yes.
Sword,
Yes.
Holman.
Yes.
Okay, that passes. Item C. This is to consider a resolution approving a 2080 agreement between the City of Oskaloosa and the Iowa Department of Revenue that under Iowa Code Chapter 453A and a memorandum of understanding with the Iowa Department of Public Health, the Iowa ABD is authorized to provide enforcement of Iowa's tobacco, alternative nicotine, and vapor products. This agreement would allow the Oskaloosa Police Department to provide the local compliance checks on behalf of the ABD. And under the agreement, the Oskaloosa Police Department would agree to regularly enforce ticketing of underage use of the products and cooperate with civil proceedings and provide monthly reports to the ABD. The ABD would provide guidance and reimbursement to the Oskaloosa Police Department for those services. Do we have a motion of support for this 2080?
So moved.
Second.
Other comments from council?
I have one question. How much additional workload do you think that this is going to be? Do you
This is
foresee for
our
your
annual one
department?
we do every single year. So we have one officer that has an underage child that goes out, they do a check in one day, and then if there's any violations, they have to go do a recheck one time.
Okay, so
So
pretty,
it's-
pretty minimal.
Yeah, it's very minimal.
Okay.
That was my question. Yep. Good.
Janet, if I can jump into, when we do that, if the city enforces it, then the fines go to the city.
Yeah.
We've done this a number of times over the years, and I don't recall anyone ever challenging it routinely. come in and pay the fine, which ratchets up with each violation.
I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't something that was gonna be all the
Yeah,
time.
full-time, yeah.
Yep, thank you.
Okay. Now, Dave, you mentioned that the fine ratchets up for each violation, so if, so we have a convenience store, they have a violation, say, 2 years ago. If there's a violation this year, does it ratchet up off of that? Say,
I need to double check. I can't recall if it's what the time frame is on that. And I want to say, and Ben, once again, correct me if I'm wrong, I want to say third violation, they can lose their license
Yes.
from the state. I can't recall offhand the time frame on it. I think it may be more than 1 year.
And it's not necessarily just the facility itself or the business itself. The actual person who violated it, who sold to an underage person, is cited here.
okay.
So those people generally don't stick around very long if they're cited for that. There are sorry, this is going off in my ear real loud. There are many issues that the ABD gives people where they can train themselves, train their employees to not have issues with this. There's also an app you can download that scans IDs and tells you if they're real or not. People just aren't using them, but the access is out there. It's all free of
Okay.
charge.
And quite frankly, too, what happens a number of times, the employer fires that person. Typically is what we see.
Okay.
The business does suffer a pretty significant fine though, usually with those, doesn't it?
Usually it's to the user itself, the person who is issuing the tobacco out, and there's
Okay.
alcohol enforcement that'll be coming up as well,
Okay.
same type of program.
Mhm.
So it is given to the person, the clerk who actually violated it, not just to the business.
Okay.
So some businesses, they may want to cover that if they have a good employee that just made a mistake, but as Dave said, oftentimes it's an employee that's just not paying attention and they're gone pretty quick.
Their big consequence then is if it crosses that third or whatever that number is, that threshold.
True, and there are two things to it. I mean, number one, there's the criminal charge that gets filed against the clerk, but then the fines typically are paid by the business itself. Once again, usually the employee is given their walking papers.
Okay.
Other questions? Roll call, please.
Drost,
Yes.
Hermson,
Yes.
Holberg,
Yes.
Ibrahim,
Yes.
Sword,
Yes.
Almond,
Yes.
Calgery,
Yes.
Okay, that passes. Item D, this is consider a resolution approving the revision to the Community-Oriented Revitalization Enhancement, which is known as CORE, Downtown Improvement Grant Program. Council approved the CORE Downtown Improvement Program on November 3rd of 2025. Interest in the program has been substantial, but several applicants have reported difficulty getting the multiple quotes required for at least part of the proposed work. The current approved program requires a minimum of 2. So in order to get rid of some of the unreasonable delay in the work, council might want to consider adding an exception if the applicant can demonstrate a lack of timely response or availability of qualified contractors. Do we have motion of support for allowing that exemption?
So moved. Second.
Okay, any discussion on this?
I guess the question I have is actual numbers, Sean. I mean, substantial is I know it's substantial because I've had a number of people call me asking about it, which is fantastic. It means that we're doing a good thing, but just curious if you have actual numbers.
Yeah, I think I've had calls for probably 10 to 12 property owners at this
Great.
point. They're all at different stages. We've received 4 official applications.
Okay.
You have one in front of you on the agenda after
Mhm.
this item, and then we have 3 others under review.
Great. Thank you.
From a time frame standpoint, what are we looking at, like acceptable or not, I guess, for if they haven't gotten a second quote? Do you have suggestions on that, what you would recommend, or?
Yeah, not looking for a firm number here. I think if anybody comes to us, and frankly everybody has with some component of their project, they've indicated some difficulties, whether they're just not getting contractors to return their calls, or there just aren't enough qualified contractors in the area to do the work. Masons, for example, has been a major issue. There's one or two contractors in the area, and they're always busy. So I don't think it would be a good idea necessarily to put a strict limit on time frames. I think if somebody simply comes to us and says, I've been calling, I've called multiple times, they're not calling me back, and I really need to do my roof, can I submit this application? I think we should be willing to consider that.
Yeah.
Other questions for Sean?
It's good to get some requests on this.
Yeah. Thank you. So, this is just the vote on allowing for the exemption. Roll call, please.
Hermson,
Yes.
Holmberg,
Yes.
Ibrahim,
Yes.
Sword,
Yes.
Almond,
Yes.
Caligiuri,
Yes.
Dross,
Yes.
Okay, that passes. Item E. This is to consider a resolution awarding a core downtown improvement grant, authorizing the payment to Kevin and Jennifer Hempel for the property located at 121 North Market Street. They've applied for the replacement of the roof. The grant review committee reviewed the application on December 15 of 2025. The committee found the application to be consistent with the program eligibility requirements and voted to recommend the grant award of $50,000 towards the project. The committee also acknowledged the difficulties by applicants in obtaining multiple quotes from contractors for the eligible work, and they had recommended the exemption for the grant program plan. Do we have a motion of support to make this award?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Holmberg,
Yes.
Ibrahim,
Yes.
Sword,
Yes.
Almond,
Yes.
Caligiuri,
Yes.
Dross,
Yes.
Hermson,
Yes.
Okay, that passes. Item F. This is to consider a resolution authorizing advancement of costs for an urban renewal project and certification of expenses for acquisition and demolition at the address of 1716 A Avenue West. The city has acquired the abandoned property located there. The building, you may remember, once contained Spaghetti's Restaurant, modern floor covering, and Big Bear Retail. It goes by various names depending who you talk to. The damaged and partially collapsed building will be demolished to resolve outstanding safety and nuisance issues. Cost for acquisition and demolition is eligible for TIF, tax increment financing reimbursement. Advancing the funds from the general fund is commonly used because the debt associated with the project was not included in the current or previous year's TIF asking, and therefore has to be drawn from a fund that has readily available balance. Approval of the item authorizes an internal loan for the work to using the fund balance in the general fund. And so the internal discussions indicate there's no need for city operations, and so after demolition, staff will be seeking council approval to list the property for sale and encourage redevelopment with a new commercial use. So do we have a motion of support for this resolution?
So moved.
Okay, any discussion on it? Roll call.
Ibrahim,
Yes.
Sword,
Yes.
Almond,
Yes.
Caligiuri,
Yes.
Dross,
Yes.
Hermson,
Yes.
Holmberg,
Yes.
Okay, that passes. Now we're getting into some of the stuff that's pretty much just among council members. Starting off with the council calendar.
I saw those, yeah.
Yeah, staff has prepared a desk calendar for the mayor and each city council member, has highlighted key dates throughout the year, including city hall closures, study sessions, budget-related items, other recurring matters, intended to serve as a reference tool, also can be used for note-taking. And so the hope is that these will assist council members in planning ahead, providing a clear view of upcoming meetings and important dates. Did I miss anything?
No, I think it's nice. I appreciate it. Yeah.
It's an idea that I heard about and appreciate staff. We got together with department heads and just asked everyone to pull in that information. So hopefully it's helpful. And if it's not overly helpful, we don't have to do it next time. So hopefully it's helpful to you.
Okay, and this is something the council members and we all take home with us, right? Or
You could keep it here probably. It's the intent.
okay. This area is used for other boards and commissions from time to time, so they may need to be picked up and then put back or something like that.
You don't want someone else's notes on your calendar?
Well,
Andy, I could put a little happy face on yours.
Are there names on these things?
No, we should put our names on them.
Yeah, I might put our names on them, huh?
They get moved.
okay.
Somebody was slacking.
Okay, item H. Yeah, and this has to do with the community engagement model that incorporated the voice of the residents summary Staff administered the community survey during the month of December of 2025. Residents were notified of the survey by way of the website, social media outlets, newspaper listings, radio ads, flyers, physical forums, utility billing, and through the chamber. There was also a drawing for $300 gift baskets to folks who took the survey. Due to the timing and the City Council agenda, the survey closed on December 31st. At this time of writing, December 30, there were 227 surveys submitted. The results of the survey are on the on the city's website. So anyway, discussion. Results of the survey, any modifications need to be made? Sean, would you be willing to take the lead on this part of it?
That was a lot of reading. Oh,
Yeah, did anyone get through all?
oh yeah, I did 2 days.
Pretty interesting,
It was.
There's a lot of good content.
Right.
So, yeah, I'll start off with this document here, but I do want to mention, I blacked out some comments in there. Did you guys see that? Are you okay with that?
Yes.
Yeah.
They're just unproductive when, you know what I mean.
Right.
Mhm.
Yep.
Just want to make sure that's okay with you all. So some of the survey questions we did modify a little bit, so it wouldn't be fair to compare side by side some of those. It wouldn't be appropriate to do that, so you're aware of that. So we had, let's see, aspects of downtown that changed a little bit. Community services, community assets, top priorities were the ones that can't really do side by side, but the subsequent year, or whenever we decide to do this again, we'll be able to compare more to the survey. And then from the previous survey to now, the new items were the Market Street question, the Parks and Rec amenity, and how you stay informed. So we can always tweak a little bit more each time, and so yeah. So I went through there and I looked side by side just to see what were the percentage differences for the questions that we could compare. And so you'll see this up there. I'll start with the first part, just for situational awareness. I noticed that there was an increase of 12% in retirees that took the survey from the previous time, and a 10% decrease in students that took the survey. Just to be cognizant as we're reading it and of that awareness. So we'll start with good news first. How about that? So the first 6 bullet points are all on the question of image and values. And there's some substantial increases. Like 15% is exceptional, you know, to see that in downtown. You've got community services people are happy with, volunteerism, new arrivals. The one that is most substantial, that 23%, that's amazing. And that's I would say out of the whole survey, that is the most important question in the survey is, does the community, you know, when it's all said and done, does the community feel like we're going in the right direction? And to see a 23% you know, from 3 years ago, that's amazing. So very impressed with that. And then of course the image of the city is right along with that. Then overall, you'll see the next 7 bullet points are all about the economic development questions. I won't read each one of them up there, but the point being is that people are happy seeing the economic development that's happening right now.
They're seeing progress.
Yeah, they are. So that kind of sums that one up. They're also really happy with the broadband, I noticed, which is really cool to see. The decrease scores, we've got transportation, 10% and 7% overall transportation. So maybe that's not a surprise, maybe it is, I don't know, but it was noteworthy. The next 9 bullet points have to do with housing. And so, you know, in summary, most people since we did that last survey to now feel like it's gotten a little bit worse since then, or that's the perception.
Can we go back one real quick? Transportation. Do you remember what that question was on the survey? What was the question on the survey? Do you remember, or do you have that on transportation?
So that was.
Are we
talking about the first one or the second one?
Second one.
Second one is just, are you satisfied with the overall transportation? There was one that just kind of like summarized all the questions in one.
Transportation is like the bus?
It could be, yeah.
I mean, that's all we got.
Yeah. It's just, oh, well, that would include roads, the whole.
Oh,
Traffic
okay.
speed,
Traffic
safety,
speed, yeah, just the
flow,
all-encompassing
Okay.
question.
signage.
Yeah, all right.
Okay. Any questions on that part? No. Right. So Alex is gonna pull up the survey here. So there's a presentation mode in this, and this is in
saw that, yeah.
Microsoft.
Yeah.
You can't change how the presentation comes out, so it's pretty good. I would probably modify a few things, but it's pretty good. So what is the home zip code? And that was, and if you hover your mouse over that, you'll be able to see, well, maybe you'll be able to see that's tiny. It's 80% of the people that took it are OSKI community members. The runner-up to that was 2% University Park. And we keep going. Employment status, that kind of helps to understand who's taking it.
Oh, retired, I was one of those.
Thank you for participating, Joe.
Did you win a gift card?
Yeah, right.
On this one, you can cover with that 5577. So, those that work in OSKI are composed of 59%, which I think the last time that the survey was taken, it was like 60%. It was close. It was close
Wow.
to that. So, and then I looked into the others, so it was 7% that was Pella, which I actually thought there might be more than that. But 3% Atumwa, and then there's a big group of people that didn't respond to that question. They had the option, because if you're not working, then you don't need to respond to that. So that's the other kind of 30% that would be your retirees that didn't have to answer that question and whatnot. So, all right. So next one. All right. So with this, I'm just gonna kind of highlight the key things that I'm seeing on here, and I'll be interested to hear your thoughts. But so the access to employment centers, they're the dark blue over there is just that people don't know what services there are. That's what that represents. The condition of streets is the one that really is probably not a surprise, right, to see that out there. And then let's scroll down just a little bit more. The transit service in the dark blue there. Actually, can we zoom in just a touch more? That'll help me anyway. Anyone else squinting to see it?
Not really.
Okay, actually, let's go.
That's
back.
big.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright, so transit service, there's just a lot of people that don't quite know what's available. And then the runner-up to the streets was the traffic signal timing. You're all,
Yeah.
It's okay,
and
Sean.
I was told we did a study before the change from the 4-lane to the 3-lane in preparation for that change, and it was a pretty interesting study. There's a lot in there that goes into figuring out how those should, when it turns green and red. I don't know if you've seen that, but it's like this thick. So I think that it's pretty good with how it is set up, but the perception is not that way. I think that mainly the lane change of the 4 to 3 is what's driving more of that than the actual. If that hadn't happened, I don't think you'd see that. That's not. I think
Well,
that's
the
driving.
complaints usually was the market here,
Yeah.
coming through town. Now we got the 3-lane, they're complaining about going east and
But
west.
there are sometimes the light does not turn green at all for a turn, and I will sit there like 2 times.
Yep.
And
Oh,
Yep.
yeah. on
even
the-
when you're pulled up, and you,
Yeah.
and I know I messaged you a couple times, so there are sometimes it does not.
You talking about the intersection?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it does not turn green to turn.
Yeah, I think it's who I was approaching
all.
first, I've been noticing that as, I 2 cars next to me, it was just the other
There
day.
was nobody on the
There was
other
nobody
side.
on the other side, so this side got all green, the other side was still red.
Yeah, and as you've noticed, we've had some issues with the street lights.
Yep.
As you can see right now.
Yep.
Actually, Sean, do you mind? We were gonna just mention this briefly, kind of what you,
Yeah.
just a little update for you guys on this results.
Yeah, so
Bless
I
you.
guess,
Mhm.
I guess first I'll just comment on the turn signals, and I've spent some time out there watching the cameras, seeing how it works. There's a lot of things that unfortunately are challenging depending on specific times of days. Especially like in Market, I can point to as a specific example where the degree of shadow that we get from the building is such a severe difference from how much glare you get, that a white car sitting in the turn lane at the wrong time of day, I'm looking at it as a person looking at it on the camera and can barely see the car.
Okay.
So sometimes there's just challenges with the logistics of what's going on there and how much contrast there is that I've looked into solutions, we've made things better, we still have problems sometimes. The other, then as far as the general operation of the traffic signals, you know, we've made a lot of upgrades since the 3-laning, and we've made a lot of effort to try and diagnose what's going on and improve the hardware. What we're finding is that the conduits, the underground wiring is just, it's old, it's having problems, it's having shorts. So we're probably at some point here going to need to run new conduit and rewire what's underground in order to solve some of the problems that we're having. So we are doing our best to get to keep on it. We've got staff members looking at it every morning and resetting it until it's working. The cold seemed to have made it worse. But we're staying on top of it, and we've kind of targeted what our next steps are to improve things in the long run.
Thank you.
Let's go to the next one. You can skip that one. I'll go back to the comments a little bit later. So the outlier here is conditions of sidewalks. That's not overly surprising to you, is it? That's something that you've heard probably. The next one up to that is the connectivity of sidewalks. So,
From when I think of the condition of the sidewalks, I mean that's that touchy subject, right? Because yeah, they're public sidewalks, but they're the homeowners, the property owner's responsibility. And from a city standpoint, I know that we flag the ones that are bad, that are significantly cracked or broken up and for replacement. But at what point, where's that tipping point that you force the homeowner to do it? So
That's the problem.
I don't know what the answer is, or if there is criteria for that. But there's city versus homeowner, and where does that tipping point end up?
that's a tough one because it can be expensive to have to replace
Very,
that. And so
right.
how hard do you push?
Right.
That's what
I mean, I
the
replaced-
council has to
yeah.
feel good about us, proceeding with how
I
much
think
enforcement.
city code, I replaced my sidewalk out front, but I had to let the city know so they can, once I had everything ready to pour, they come out and check it and whatever. That was it, But I think the issue is, a lot of folks think, well, it's a city sidewalk, I shouldn't have to pay for it.
Yeah, they don't know.
No, it's true, I mean,
Yeah.
so, but I think we used to, years ago, we was having the city, they were going down streets, sectors, whatever, checking sidewalks and marking. And I know we still have that sidewalk plan that you use, I think.
Been several years ago, but I got noticed once.
Did you?
Had to do a little repair. Wasn't drastic, but still.
And sometimes the city will help you out, because maybe you just need the grind
Yeah,
the
right,
edge.
just ground out a little bit. Yep.
Mine, trees were busting my sidewalk up.
Yeah.
I took care of that too. Cut his leg off.
Sean.
Yeah, and just to comment, we do have specific criteria that are listed in the code as to what constitutes a deficient sidewalk. That is something that there are specific measurements we can take that, generally speaking, if they happen, you can look at it and know that it's deficient. They're not very, they're not small things. They're legitimate tripping hazards by the point that we're doing that. And then as far as assessment goes, we do have had a couple of years where we've had a lapse. There were some legal questions about the process we were using for our assessments, and so we kind of had to take a break and relook at some of those things, but we are hoping to revisit that this summer because it is a program that we do need to have in place.
So currently, we're on a break then.
We have identified and repaired deficient sidewalk in some circumstances, but as far as doing our assessment program, so typically what we would do is we would inform the property owner that they've got the deficient sidewalk, and it would be up to them. They could just repair it on their own. That's the first preferable option. We would rather not have our hands on it. But in the case that they didn't come back and do that, then the city comes in and does that work and assesses it to them. And then it's similar to how some of the cleanups we've done on properties where they could just come in and pay the city for the work that we did, or it could be assessed against their taxes.
And as I remember, we had also shared the name of the contractor that the city was using with those property owners. I don't know if the same pricing was extended, but I was thinking there was a bit of a discount.
And that was kind of part of where some of the legal questions were coming in, was if that process we were doing was something we could really be doing or not.
Okay.
And also, when you're doing that, you usually kind of pick a section of the community to do it in, right? It's not like all spread out, and that way they could get more reduced costs, like you're saying, with contractor coming in and doing an area.
Do we address complaints though? I mean, if there's a call.
If we get complaints, we can certainly go out and inform property owners. We can do individual assessments if we wanted to, yes. We don't, I haven't received a lot of individual complaints like that, and it just haven't done really good.
I just thought I was lucky about 15 years ago.
But there's also a sidewalk plan list, which Sean has, that we did years ago, of what sidewalks are missing, or, you know, and
For connecting.
yeah, and there's places today that makes no sense to put a sidewalk in. That's probably why there's not one there now, but there's places where there's one block might have it and the next one not, you know. And then some have both sides of the road, some don't. I think each area needs to be relooked and say, okay, what makes sense here? Very simple. I mean, I think you have that old plan, that old list, I should say.
Yeah, and it is very comprehensive about where there is sidewalk, where there's not, where the city's goals were to add sidewalk at that time.
Let's continue. And we can bypass that one. All right. Image of the city is doing pretty good, I would say. Image of downtown is doing excellent. All the changes and policy that you guys have supported is making a big difference. Ability to attract residents is kind of the one that stands out there. And if you scroll down just a touch more, I wonder if some of that is the place, is this a place to play? It might have something to do with that as well.
Or just the availability of places for them to live.
That's definitely got to be.
You can't live here if there's not a place to live.
Let's continue. All right. So Oskaloosa overall economy. Let's see. What does that first word say?
Oskaloosa's overall economy.
No, the one underneath it.
That's downtown.
Okay. So that one is doing quite well again. The quality and variety, retail quality and variety is the one that's what people want. I've heard that in all the communities I've worked in. The problem is you don't have the base. You don't have enough population to bring in, I think, the retail that most people want to see. That's the problem.
Yeah, you have to up your numbers.
Tourism potential is kind of there too. I would say that one is maybe an opportunity area that, you know, if we were, I know that this has been a discussion before, kind of what's the identity of Oskaloosa, and if we're able to maybe identify what that is. The thing is that you could go in several directions and it would be part of the identity, but I would just say that that's an opportunity right there, that we could, if we were to say, the bandstand is kind of, if that's our thing, and you just completely roll with it with the city, you can help with that. If people can get behind, this is what our identity is, I think that we would be able to make that better, people's perception. Okay, let's go on to the next one. Okay, so we saw that again, retail service shopping. This is a lot easier to read, but parking availability. That's a tricky one, right? Because I think most people, when they're saying that, is that they don't have close parking availability.
They want in front of the door, you mean?
Right.
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot that you can do about that, unless you put a downtown parking, well, even closer to downtown. But I don't. That's a tough one that you guys.
That's been a story for as long as I've been living here.
Yeah.
Pedestrian atmosphere and walkability. I'd say that there are opportunities there that we could look at, especially when and if we take over Market Street. That would be a good time to do some things. So let's go on to the next one. And one more. Okay, so A Avenue, the one at the top of the list, property condition, infill development. Take down the spaghetti building was a comment that I saw, and we'll just go ahead and do that. You asked, and instantly.
That's how important the survey. Check that out.
Yeah.
No problemo.
Wider sidewalks, that would be nice too.
Wider sidewalks. Well, and I think with the sidewalks, though, I think that with the old sidewalks are 3, then it went to 4. Is this current standard 5 feet,
No.
Sean?
No, it's 4.
For new development?
So 4-foot sidewalk is considered acceptable if there's a 5-foot passing point every, I believe it's every 200 feet. I'd have to look up that number to be sure.
Okay.
But typically in a residential area, a driveway is a valid 5-foot segment, so you end up seeing 4-foot sidewalk.
Yep. 5 foot was more for like your downtown areas.
And I would generally encourage someone to put in 5-foot sidewalk if they were willing to do it. Especially in front of businesses, that would be something that I would consider desirable, but I would say most places don't want to do that.
Right.
And scroll back up just a touch. I think we're gonna see, the infill development, some of and actually go up even to the top there, property condition. I think we're seeing some growth in this area. I think the perception is going to continue to even get better as we see some more development and things that are in the works right now.
And I think just 2 fairly recent infill projects. You had Domino's that came in on the old Hardee's lot that sat vacant for years, and then Quick Star.
Yep.
I mean, there was just that empty lot there for, I think Bank Iowa had their sign up there for 20 years.
Yep.
You know, so we're starting to see some of that again, so that's good.
We'll continue. So Market Street, this is a new question, same sort of question for residents, but as you can see, property condition is number 1 by far, and that's probably not a surprise either, because I know you guys have talked about this a lot. And this we do in the strat plan. We've got the core downtown program, and now we've got a core neighborhood program. And I would suggest that maybe we get specific and say this is the area that we want to target for this.
Yeah, like North Market.
Yeah. And then we need to talk details about what that would look like with greater enforcement. How much of an incentive would we also give if we knock on someone's door and we say, hey, everyone right here is going to need to improve. How much are we going to help them? Is the question.
Right.
Because I think we need to some degree.
Yeah, we need to play in that.
Let's continue. All right, so housing supply. We need housing in every area. The gray, that total gray represents people that say we don't have enough of the different types of housing. The red, there's 2 of them, the empty nesters and the elderly. But even then, if you look at the percentages, the no's still outweigh the yeses.
Yeah.
So we need help in everything,
Yeah.
but the perception at least is that those areas are getting a little bit better compared to the others. Okay. All right. On this one, we've got, police is doing pretty good. Animal control, we know we've been talking about that quite a bit, but, you know, it stands out a little bit. Fire, is doing great.
Amazing.
Code enforcement is kind of, you know, neck and neck with animal control is similar, or the same at times. Got public works kind of in the middle there, doing well. Brush dump, that one surprised me. I didn't know how much people love.
They did.
Yeah.
It's an awesome resource.
Does that surprise you?
No, because there was talk at one time, and I mean, Sean, I had people, I don't know how you guys did, I mean, people literally threatened, please don't close the brush. Oh, yeah. They don't have any place to take them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Going to the brush. I was out there one time, and there was a guy out, and he's I've been here to close the brush dump. I said, no, I don't know where you got that info from, but no, people, they love it.
Yeah. There's not a lot of communities that have that left.
Somebody goes out there and dumps other things.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
can,
right.
you know, mess it up for everyone else.
So, okay. Planning and zoning, building permitting, doing pretty well.
Library's really well. The
Library taking the cake on this one. Everyone loves the library. They don't like sewer as much.
Well, go figure.
Parks and Recreation, look is very favorable, and then city administration elected, there's always room for improvement for all of us too. So next one. Okay, so community services, medical, arts and culture, you can see all of those are really, really great. And
I'm on the good side.
yeah, it's kind of cool to see that. This was another one that surprised me, the 911. I didn't know how much of a perception of how much people love that. I didn't know that. Is that a surprise to you guys? Or?
No.
No, it's.
And we deal with them. We've shadowed them.
Yeah, I went down there.
They're spot on
They do a
down
really
there.
good job.
Yeah.
Spent a couple days in there.
It's been a hot topic the past few years too, which helps
Yeah.
with
Well, it
the people understanding and things you read. And I mean it's been in front of a lot of us lately too. So it doesn't surprise me.
Water's kind of out there too, but not as much for us to control. Broadband internet is doing real well out there. That's cool to see. Daycare, a lot of people that don't really know what's going on with it, but definitely an opportunity that we are working on with community partners right now. Okay, yeah, parks and recreation is just very favorable across the board, really. And we're working on the Edmondson pool, natural areas, and I mean, this is not, neither of those are, I would say, like a bad rating looking at those. They're all good. Lacey Complex, there's like no one, like everyone thinks that's perfect out there. Apparently, it's like the highest score that we've had. So, not surprising. It's really amazing. Okay. Parks and Recreation.
Splash park.
Splash pad. Okay. So we're gonna pull up
gonna be
a
doing some
separate
designing.
document here. Okay, so I took every comment that was made, and this took a while, but I organized it
Holy.
by like similar things and then put them into categories. And so you can see Splash Pad had 31 comments that people made on that. The runner-up was the pool, just finished the indoor pool, helped outdoor pool were the comments. Bike trails were up there, continued to do the work on that. Parks and pickleball tennis, that came up a few times. That's the thing people like, but very clear winner.
Yeah.
So I feel like you could tell us, go after it, try and fundraise that whole thing, and people would support it.
Yeah.
I think they would.
You do a community
And then people would
fundraiser.
argue about where the location should be, correct?
Yeah, you can do
No, you know how that is.
You can do a community fundraiser.
Yeah.
My thing though is like the funding to maintain it. You
Yeah.
know, like
Yeah.
it's
Right. Yep.
not a cheap item, and I don't think people understand that the maintenance
Yeah.
of the life.
The fundraising goal would need to include a lot more than what it
Yeah.
just costs initially, so
Right.
we could pay for it, kind of the lifespan.
The lifespan of it.
That would be the goal. And so we had 11, so of the 31, 11 said Edmondson Park.
Yeah.
Yeah.
13 didn't say. 4 downtown, 3 Lacey, so I would say Edmondson was kind of what people are leaning towards.
Well, it makes
but-
sense.
Yeah.
I mean, you got all that land out there. I mean, man, it was talking about downtown on the square.
I can't believe you brought that up.
Well, we could move the bandstand.
God, no.
There's tomorrow's headline.
Yeah, right.
Joe Caligiuri spearheading the effort. Move the bandstand.
Yeah.
Get a lot of phone calls now.
Accepting
He is
donations
by
right
him-
now.
Yeah, he's by himself on that, Mayor.
Just kidding, just kidding. No, but the park would be an excellent place for it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was helpful information. We'll go back to the survey. I think this demonstrates, so let's see, what community assets would you like to see improved? Continue on that economic development route. I think people are just enjoying that. Go to the next slide. Bring the following community priorities. This makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Housing and streets.
Two top ones.
And we're working on both.
Sorry.
No, we can keep going. Or actually, no, let's go back. Okay. Let's kind of scroll down and see economic development, continue working on those things, looking to build entryways into town. So just because it's a little bit lower doesn't mean that it's not important.
Right.
Right.
Right, it's still something that we
Right.
could consider and work on. New park and recreation pool, looks like we might, be on that. Collaboration of community partners, yeah. And also, even though the airport is down there, it's still something that we're not just going to completely forget. We're going to think about how can we help our current airport to the best of our ability. Okay. Next. This one's pretty self-explanatory. We can go past that one. Okay, so tell us what you like most, and then the next question is where they think we can make improvements. So, got another document I'm going to pull up here. Alex will grab that. So I read through all the comments, and I just wrote down the themes. And so tell me if you think I got them all, or if I missed them.
I bet you did. I bet you didn't bring up the 3-lane conversion at
It's
all.
on there. Yeah.
Oh my God! I was reading through that. I'm like, oh my.
So the survey questions don't necessarily tell you the whole picture of what people are thinking, but comments fill in the gaps. So, but there's, of course, there's some overlap here. Condition of housing, road, sidewalks, affordable housing, all the same comments match up. The 4-lane, 3-lane, there it is. And I categorized this as highest concerns, and for me it was how angry were people about this work in that area. Wastewater rates, there's a lot of comments, taxes, moderate concerns, the ones that weren't necessarily mentioned in the survey itself from questions, the golf carts on bike paths, that was mentioned quite a bit.
I hear that all.
Homeless
And ATVs.
population was mentioned quite a bit.
So it's a concern about the golf carts on the bike path?
Yeah.
You run into them
Yeah,
all the
there's a lot of
time,
the side.
and I don't know.
Quite a few
Yeah.
comments.
And I work right here. And
I have to take
I know we have
grass. No,
I guess I
they
did.
could care less.
Wow. I saw it on Facebook.
haven't had that experience.
Yeah, you have to make
It's not close.
There's
That's why I
a
don't like
reason,
the
I think if
bike
you
trail.
go way back to when the recreation trail was originally started, it was called a recreation trail for a reason.
Right.
I mean, the initial philosophy, whole reasoning behind it Now, again, I mean, we need to be, if we're driving golf carts, we need to be respectful of people. But
Yeah.
I think if you went back to the people having those original discussions and the planning with that, it's a recreation trail, not a bike trail. And again, I'm not saying that that comment is not accurate, or that there aren't concerns or I mean, issues that I've personally witnessed.
I also think,
But where do you draw that line, providing accessibility to everybody? Because that trail goes to parts to the outskirts of town where if you can't ride a bike or you can't walk, you might not be able to get to.
but I also think that was before they legalized letting golf carts and ATVs
On
be
the
on the
streets.
roadways. So, because I actually was for it when they because you know I'm a golf, and then when they legalized the golf carts and the ATVs, I actually get hit by this question all the time. People want them off the, and as a biker and as a walker and as a runner, it is. I know it is a huge concern. So I think that is something that we probably do need to look at now that they're legal on the roadways. Not that I would like seeing little kids going that fast in ATVs, but yeah, I think it is a concern on the recreational trail. I agree.
Yeah, that probably is the biggest concern, the underage people that get on there.
Mhm.
They're the ones that be most.
They're not all the
concerned
ones
about,
that
right,
don't
but-
get over, but I mean, yeah.
I would say I run into more of people who know they should get over,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah,
and
I do
I'm
too.
on a bike and I'm taking the grass.
Yep.
And I
Yeah, it's a
don't
huge concern.
ride on the trail anymore. I just don't want to deal with it.
Time for a change.
Yeah, sounds like something to work on.
A couple others that I kind of marked here that weren't mentioned in the survey, more employment opportunities was something mentioned a few times. The mall not being fully utilized, there's some people that made those comments. Not knowing our identity, capitalizing on it, that was made a few comments on that. So community favorites, we know, I mean, the trails for so many people, downtown events, business growth, potential buzz that's kind of going around that. Feeling of safety, that was mentioned a lot, I noticed, and you don't necessarily get that.
It's a safe
from-
space, yeah.
Yeah, tons of people made that comment, they feel safe in Oskaloosa. Friendliness, togetherness, giving community, small town with bigger feel than normal amenities. That's what I got on that one. Did I get most of it? Did I miss it?
No, I think, yeah.
Just attempt to categorize everything. All right. Keep going. Here's the demographics, age, and who you know. Self-explanatory.
Wow.
Most of them are people that live here.
That's a big number.
Did
I
we
wasn't
have a-
expecting that to be that high either.
Yeah.
Did we have a question of how long have you, if you live here, how long have you been? Okay.
Could be a good one.
Yeah, that is good, yeah.
Let's get a question.
Okay. That one, the previous time that it was taken, it was like 96 or 7% that was white or Caucasian, but the difference this time is that we gave people the opportunity to say they didn't want to answer the question. So
Oh.
I think it really is actually the higher 90. And then we did our 3 drawings today for 3 lucky happy winners.
Oh, fantastic.
And then the last comment that I have on this is I noticed that I didn't have the golf course specifically named in here, so that's something we could add next time. There's a comment or two about we had a section that talked about essential workers, and I get to define that next time. And then I like that question about how long they put in community. So that's it.
That's good.
Okay. I guess, and the question to ask is, or to think about, as we're going to get to the brainstorming activity, is do we want to change anything as a result of what we saw here? So just be thinking about that.
Very good. Moving on to item I, this is the start, stop, and continue exercise results. And this is focused on council members and staff, I think department heads, that sort of thing. The leadership team ranked each of the, let's see, back up. So employees were invited to share what they thought we should start and stop and continue doing as a city. 88 comments submitted. Leadership team ranked them on a scale of 1 to 5 of importance, and the list was narrowed down to the top 25 comments. So we'll probably spend most of our time thinking about the start and stops. But as far as the, let's see, first I should ask, do you have any comments on this as well?
Yeah, I do. So the salary really was the number one thing, and I think it's helpful to understand, how staff are feeling about a certain thing. I would recommend to the council that I think the salary study is a good idea. Even though, there's the idea that if we don't have enough money, why even go down the route? But I think that it's important enough because you can build in that equity. Maybe there's one area where employees are way, a lot lower, and we need to focus on getting that up. You can help fix the inequities by doing a salary study. That's the thought on that one. We'll be doing a review of handbook and see where there's some opportunities and hopefully some that are just easier fixes and not so much money, but we'll take a look at that and kind of come back with ideas. On the police officers, kind of as you've been on this, there is a need, but the more important thing would be focusing on retention first. We need to get those people in there, and then we could talk about that, adding later on is kind of the thought there. Public Works, they certainly could use more people. The natural time would be when we take over Market Street, then we would really, we've got to do something there. The comment, the police, public works building, we'll get to that, I guess, in the next section here. We could talk a little bit more about that, but yeah, I guess we'll do that then. The monthly updates to employees, they'd like to have a little bit more communication there, and I think that's something I could easily do. And then kind of some of the rest of them were just great ideas and working on a lot of them to make fixes for people. So the hiring and onboarding software will really be helpful. I think we can improve the amount of people that we're getting applying for positions, time clock, electronic stuff. So, and then in the stop section, bicycle licensing, I think that's coming at the next council meeting. So we're just kind of, let's just knock some off. Let's get them done. Right. I think that's it.
Okay, good.
Any other comments from council on that? Okay. Gets us to item J. And this has to do with the brainstorming activity. It would occur every 2 years in alignment with the city's election cycle. Purpose is to determine if we need to add, modify, or remove goals from the city's strategic plan or the capital improvement plan. 302 comments submitted, consolidated, summarized, and then we have it before us in major accomplishments, the issues and concerns, significant initiatives, capital project, and teamwork. So this is one that I agreed to kind of try to walk us through. And number one was the major accomplishments, the great things that are happening. So a lot of this stuff is old news to the council members, and so it talks in there about the thriving community, the kind of engagement we're getting from citizens. The kind of getting ahead of the cost of infrastructure in the case of the new sewer plant, the TIF and tax abatement policies that are encouraging development, agreement on the 911 Center, collaboration with the city, county schools, William Penn, Mahaska Health, and Musco, the hiring of the Parks and Rec director, and just some of the zoning that we've done. All of those are accomplishments that have made Oskaloosa just a generally better place over the few years. Getting into the concerns and trends. So just going on down through the staff commentary, that or excuse me, the categories here, the animal control, we're addressing that tonight. The brush dump, there was some comment about limiting that to Oskaloosa residents. I've seen out of county license plates there when I've been there. And I caught the mayor of University Park there once.
Yeah, we were there.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I want to make a comment on that, because I think when previous administration here, we were talking about this, the brush dump in general, but I mean, there's things in place, and there are signs out there, but of course nobody reads them, but there's really no enforcement, there's no control on that, and then I think, I have an idea for it, but to prevent, now contractors, I think people are confused about that. If you live in town and you have a contractor cutting down a tree in your yard, he can go and take it to the brush dump. But if you have a contract coming from New Sharon or wherever,
I don't think so.
he cannot.
I don't think so, right? Because they're being paid to take that tree down, correct?
Who?
If a contractor is accepting money
Yeah.
from a resident to take down a tree, we will not accept that.
Oh.
Because the city is going to incur that cost of getting rid of that tree. We actually added it to our fee schedule for a contractor
Okay.
who wanted to dispose of a tree at the brush dump, of what they would need to pay the city.
Okay.
That's just
That's
our
what I
cost
thought.
of getting rid of that tree.
That's what I
And then
thought.
if we had outside contractors, then will you charge them? If they wanted to?
If they wanted to, I mean,
I-
to be frank, our tree disposal fee is not something a contractor would likely be interested in paying.
Yeah, because that's why I was
It would be
confused. I
cheaper
wasn't
to-
sure about, you know, somebody in town hiring a contractor, he could use that. Dump. But
No,
he
not
can
when they're
pay
being
to
paid,
go in there
correct,
to do
that's
that, right?
If he wanted to pay us to
Okay.
take the tree, then we would.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
There was comment in there about communication, just regarding citizen lack of engagement, understanding some of the unproductive comments that happen from time to time. So I think that's an area where if we're communicating well and folks understand what's going on, that'll be improved. Criticism that the Musco's new parking lot didn't free up enough downtown parking. You wonder how many spaces they would have to build in order to economic development, emphasis on keeping businesses, funding concerns having to do with funding the city services and property tax levies, sewer rates being high, gateways, that we focus on the downtown, but should we be looking more at North Market and West A Avenue? The housing comments, having to do with the lack of housing, especially when there's large employers hiring aggressively. The homeless population is also something we hear about from time to time. Okay, and so things like keeping on our city-county relationships. Staffing is something that is an ongoing concern. Police in particular, but also other city departments are needing to be right-sized. Then rebalancing based on actual workload is suggested. And then in the technology area, I think this jumps right into Javin's lap as far as artificial intelligence, mobile-friendly service platforms, ensuring equitable access to services, improving transparency. Those are all areas that I think we have some opportunities in the future. Technology is moving in that direction. And then the water department talks in there about no public communication by water department during breaks. I believe the water department has its own website that folks can go to for just this sort of thing. So now getting into...
I was just going to say, I appreciate the comment in here about, because we hear about streets and streets. I appreciate the comment that there's $3.4 million budgeted annually for the next 5 years for streets. That's a pretty significant investment. And I think what a lot of people don't understand, and I have this conversation with people frequently, is the cost. The cost of streets, the cost of sewer mains, the cost of building repairs, the cost, it is high. And substantial is the better word for it. But But I mean, to commit that kind of money annually to the streets is huge. And I think even, when you look at the dollars that we've put into our sewers and our water mains and such over the last few years, it's significant.
Okay, moving into the other initiatives, keeping, supporting TIF developers, that's a good long-term strategy. Increasing city revenue, through, so that we can do capital improvements. What about employee benefits, especially 911 expenses? That is something that has been a trigger in the past. One of the comments made was to consider Pella's 911. It's $100,000 savings. And so, kind of like buying a luxury car. You get what you pay for. And so I think we have Cadillac service that comes through the dispatch.
Is this something that the council would like to kind of add to the strategic plan, is just the strategy of let's look at revenue sources?
To me, that's just a normal thing you would normally do. I don't find that to be a strategic. I think that's just part of our job.
Okay, so that'd be more along the line of a tactic within the strategic plan.
Yeah, I guess.
Okay. There's in the animal control area, talks about updating the codes. We've got that. Continue considering the addition of an animal control officer. And so, what are people's thoughts on that? It's a little early to be asking, but do you have any knee-jerk reactions?
That's something to look into.
Into it.
Yeah. If they seem like they're overwhelmed, which it sounds like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think what I heard tonight from the shelter, and I'm not saying we don't need another CSO chief, but if I can help the shelter add an ACO for $15,000, that's the cheapest ACO that we're gonna.
That's exactly what I was saying.
Sorry, chief, we're not hiring a CSO for $15,000. I don't think.
The more they can handle that, I don't have to.
Right. That's
Yeah.
what I was going to say. But
Yeah.
at the same time, it still
Yeah.
benefits you because you're still going to utilize that service.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. There's a comment in here about annexation, and so along with our strategic plan, it's targeting where do we want housing development to be, and having some voice and some plan into how Oskaloosa develops in the future.
Annex that property next to you. There we go.
So branding, brush dump, we've talked about. Code enforcement, I think we've spent some time on that already. Economic development, innovation as far as funding, creative problem solving for entrepreneurs and others. The master plan, of course, for the certified site. Updating handbook policies in the employee handbook. Housing, we've talked about, and I think we've done a good job with creating some incentives for doing housing improvements for existing homes, and then also tax abatement for new construction as well. Internal services, having to do with purchasing policy. The existing 2080 agreement with the school, with a maintenance endowment fund. This is one that I stuck in there that we do have a 2080 agreement that required funding, and neither the city of Oskaloosa or the school has put any money into it. And so it is something that I think we need to commit to. Let's see, the new police public works building, that in the event that there ever comes a time, I think the concept here is that it would be a shared building. That if we wanted to build something of that nature, it wouldn't be dedicated to just one or the other, and some saving to be made on maintenances and that sort of thing.
Put them all in one building?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then we talked about this public works building years ago, just redoing what they had down there, and then we brainstormed a little bit about a police station. We even talked about the lot right next door.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to put it in one building, then it changes everything.
Yeah, I mean it's an area that's been suggested anyway. I guess I don't know. I mean, is there any interest in at least thinking it through on the part of council?
Can't hurt, they both need attention.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Sean and I have talked about this one. I mean, the Public Works building on South D is terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, Sean's probably, I think Sean's glad that he's in the basement of City Hall and not out there. And it's been a few years since I've been in there, but when I was in there 3 or 4 years ago, again, I mean, you're living in the 1960s in there, and I think that our team deserves at a minimum an upgrade to that building. Now, again, priorities, right? I mean, streets or a new public works building. We have to find that happy medium.
Wastewater facilities.
And wastewater facilities and all those things.
I
The
was going to
police-
ask what,
Yeah.
you know, I'm glad you're elaborating on that. I was going to ask, you know, what's terrible about it, only from the sense of I haven't stepped foot in there for probably many years. But when I drive by, the outside doesn't look terrible.
No.
It looks like it's been maintained, and we're trying to keep it looking.
I think I like how you said that, Andy. I think our staff has done a great job maintaining it, but it's outdated,
I'm
significantly outdated.
surprised to hear that.
Yeah.
Is it terrible?
It certainly has some challenges. The roof especially needs a lot of attention. The building is it's really kind of two buildings that have been attached. So there's also the adjoining part of that where that's not ideal. The other situation that we're running into is just the fact that the equipment is getting bigger. It has been for a long time. And we've actually run into that. We have some of our equipment. We had one of our pieces of equipment that we actually had to bring over to the fire station over the winter to put chains on the tires because the extra height from putting that chain on the tire was enough that we weren't going to be able to fit it in our building anymore. So there's definitely those challenges. There's some issues with the heating that could be resolved. I mean, there's plenty of things that could use improvement at the building.
Yeah, the garage part is probably from the 1800s, the other side's from the 60s.
That's been his experience of the police department, because I'm not sure if everyone's been down there. Could you describe some of the
Sorry,
concerns?
to just interject before you start, Andy, you're welcome to visit our street shop anytime.
I will take you up on that one of these times, for sure.
I don't think there's any secrets. The issues with the police department, it was built in 1996, we're in the basement. Being under the jail means there's sewage in our offices quite often, which is pretty disgusting. Comes right through the floor. Sometimes the inmates accidentally do it, sometimes they on purpose do it. But it ends up in our area. There's no natural light whatsoever. There's no sense of pride when you come to work. It's just, oh, we're in the basement of this lovely place. It maybe didn't matter in the 90s, it matters now. It's definitely something people want to bring their families in, they want to be proud of where they work. And if anyone hasn't seen the facility, by all means come visit. I'll walk you around a little bit. But by current standards, we should be in about 15,000 square feet for the size we have. And the size we have of staffing is considerably less than it should be by comparables, and we're in about 4,500 square feet. We have a shared evidence locker, which is not at all the standard for modern property and evidence. So that means we have one big room that all of the sheriff's department, all of the police department have access to. We have limited that. We got them to upgrade at least the security of the room so it's key fob instead of just key access. But if I am in there, I can access all of the sheriff's department's evidence, and vice versa. If the sheriff or his people are in there, they can access all of our evidence. There's no real good way to fix that right now. We're looking at some alternatives with chain link fencing, which is temporary, but the facility is just not what a modern police department needs to run itself, to retain staff. There's just a lot of issues to it. And I think in the 90s when they built it, it was probably good enough. Back then you had 600 people applying for 20 openings. Now you have 3 openings and 1 person applying. So it's a very different time, and the needs are very different than 1996.
Yeah, it's pretty crowded downstairs.
It is.
I think I'm going for my meeting
Yeah. Second time, Jim.
tomorrow night there, but it's very crowded. You just don't have the room. So, yeah, I moved to town in '96, and they just knocked down the old one and started building that one. Was that back then designed just for the sheriff or the police or both?
It was for both.
It was for both? Okay.
Yep.
Because they were here. The police
Yeah.
was here.
Police was in the basement of this place.
Oh.
Well, basements, huh?
One basement to the other.
Yeah.
Most modern police departments don't put their staff in the basement anymore. They usually put underground parking there, but that's what they chose.
Well, it's worth to have a conversation about it.
Yep. Okay. Okay, moving on. We talked about paying benefits already, and perhaps doing a salary study, and then also working on retention that way. There's in the rates area, not much to say there. Mentioning growing the social media stuff, that's in the strategic plan. I found it interesting to see a line in here, special events for all arts and culture, storytelling festival. Yeah, so I don't know, Sean, do you want to talk to that at all?
Yeah, that was my idea in there. Where I grew up, there was this storytelling festival in town, and my parents wanted me to go to it. I'm like, I don't know at my age at that time, but I went to it, and it was like one of the funnest events that I had been to, a community event. So just, if you've ever heard of professional storyteller, it's really fun. It's cool. And this is something that I know Marion's really interested in doing. And I know that there's interest in this idea with other community partners too. So it's really good. And it would certainly help with just bringing more attention to the library, the awesome services they provide.
So, staffing, there was a comment made about exiting employees being offered a chance to complete a survey, for that sort of thing. Every now and then I've heard of the technique of doing a stay interview. Why are you staying? What is it you like about your job? That sort of thing. It's an interesting approach. Technology-wise, I think we talked about that to some degree. Let's see here. Creating a resident-facing city app. That I think is something that's being worked on. So technology, updating the codes, city codes, and ensuring that they're up to date. The discussion that Sean and I had was whether or not we could take like a small bite of the apple every year, like find 2 or 3 codes, go through them hard, update them as needed, and then that's it. But then over the span of 5 or 6 years, you hit them all. And then by that time, it might be time to look at them again.
Right. Yeah. Yep.
So we talk in there from the waste area. There was a line in there about a residential curbside yard waste pickup option. My understanding is that you can do that with a hauler. If you have LDI or some other hauler, you can call them up and say, okay, I'm going to have a bunch of branches and stuff out of my backyard. I want to bundle it up and have it hauled away. That they'll do that for a fee. Someone had mentioned change to a single residential trash and recycling hauler. I'm hearing slight groans and awkward silence.
I had just got onto council, and there was rumors circulating of doing that, and I had just got appointed to council, and my phone started ringing, and I got messages, and I'm like, I don't even know what they're talking about. And there was the rumor, the story going around, and there might have been some very high level conversations happening of the what ifs.
I was going to say, is there a challenge with the haulers that we currently have?
I think part of it, what I learned was that if you go back 20 years ago, there were 7 or 8 haulers in town, and the volume of heavy trucks on the streets and everything.
When I
now
came
we're down
on,
to basically 2.
Yeah.
When I came on council, we had 4 haulers. One was selling, and we was trying to get it down to 2,
Mhm.
what it is
Which
today.
is today.
But this came up before, and there's no competition.
Right. Also, think about solvency, like, so if one goes out of business, then you still have another molar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, no.
Okay. And then the idea of exploring workforce development opportunities with the Oskaloosa Community School District or the college. And so I think we've had some success with the police department as far as students that are getting involved and make it a career. So can we stretch that to somewhere else? Capital projects and equipment purchases, so we've talked about the consideration of a public works and police building, some renovations that need to be done. One thought was on here, it has to do with expanding the council chambers so we could fit more people in it. I don't know. There's a lot of cubic feet in here. Not that I'm advocating a balcony, but maybe that's what
We could get bleachers, but Mayor, there's a certain quota that we can only have so many people in here.
that
You
way.
want me to get out of your office?
Have him in the back.
I'm not offering to expand into my office. So collaboration is mentioned in here. As far as the downtown, potential changes for more downtown parking, I'm not sure what we would do there. Economic development, one of the ideas presented was city acquisition of land that could be used for future development. I guess if you think about the Spaghetti's building, for example, that's kind of where that's headed. Yeah. There's also mention in here of the downtown streetscape replacement. So, I mean, I was on council when we voted that in, and what a marvelous thing that was going to be. And now to say, yeah, it is actually getting a little long in the tooth. But
it's hold up.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's doing really well, I think.
yeah.
Yep. So 3rd Avenue West, paving out to Suffolk Road. The connection over to the Gateway development is mentioned in here. Cornerstone Drive, water and sewer extensions, Progress Drive, also some there. Infrastructure, maybe, we tried with the capital improvements tax. The question was maybe if we had targeted streets only, and then stuck a sunset on it, would that have carried the day?
I think it would.
Yeah.
The sunset was the biggest comment that I heard was that when's this going to end?
Yeah.
And I mean, a lot, the local option sales tax most times has a sunset, or there's different things that have the sunset. What does that look like? The schools, when people ask me about that levy, I compare it to the school's PEPL, and that's a 10-year term. So it's just a what if that.
Yep.
Sounds like the council would be in favor if we kind of went down that road.
Yeah,
With
focus
the
that.
streets, with the end date.
Yeah. So the next line down is the police and dispatch CAD system communications, and I'm trying to remember what the CAD stands for.
Computer aided dispatch.
Okay, so okay. Let's see, park improvements, splash pad, of course, is mentioned in here. Police vehicles is mentioned. Staffing, there's a little bit more verbatim on here having to do with growing the police vehicle fleet so we can start doing take-home cars. I guess I see some merit to that in the sense that you've got, first off, it's good for the police officer, they've got their own, but I think it also helps the neighborhood to see one of those laying around somewhere. Staffing.
Parks right next.
Are we going to have if we do that, Chief, we're going to have officers in each ward and have residency requirements that way?
Yeah, which I think tucked in here is also getting rid of the residency requirement, as I remember.
That's already done.
Yeah, okay, so let's see here. Get the connector project finished. Street improvement commitments, the technology, there's several mentions in here of stuff that was talked about earlier. The mobile service requests, mobile access for permitting, that sort of thing. And then in wastewater, just, keeping that moving and get that under control. So finally, it gets into the teamwork. And this one, as I remember, we can kind of just say, show appreciation, recognize the chain of command, communicate well. Let's see here, education, making sure that staff and also council, has education to understand what we're working with from time to time. Pilot programs, so experimenting with pilot programs before we do large investments was an idea that was floated. Developing the strategic plan, more technology as far as digital services concerned, and then technology and encouraging joint review sessions, ensuring the mobile access projects align with strategic plan. So that was tucked in there, and then there's a significant number that have to do with values. So making sure we have a shared commitment, communication is clear. I would tuck in the word, that disagreement is fine, respectful disagreement is better. Focusing on issues, be data driven is tucked in there as well. And then a good understanding of what departments do. And so over time you learn that sort of thing, but it doesn't hurt to have tours of individual departments, so we have a chance to, I know I'm one of those folks that if I step into a situation and see it, it seems to make a lot more sense to me. And let's see. Yeah, nothing else to really add to that. Is there anything that you staff wanted to know more about?
This is a clarifying question on the values. Is the council interested in maybe putting something at the beginning of the agenda that would, based on the values that are listed here, we could put like something simple that you could read each time? These are our values. Is that something the council is interested in or not interested in?
I'm not.
Certainly doesn't hurt.
I mean, we could have it listed somewhere. I don't know if we need to read it each.
That's what I was thinking too.
I'm not a fan of reading it each
I was thinking the same thing too.
Yeah. Yeah. You were mentioning like as if something that were to be read out before a meeting or something that would be placed at the
Maybe it could be on the board at the beginning of all the meetings.
calendar.
on the board.
Yeah,
just
calendar. I really like the
You
idea of
can't see our
that you're
calendar.
saying. True.
People want to read it, whether city waiting. I mean,
Quarterly.
Yep.
Yeah, put it on the website. I think
Yeah.
Everyone.
Cool. Okay. Okay. So with that, any thoughts? Additional comments?
There's a lot there.
Yeah.
And I mean, this list is not all inclusive, obviously. I'm guessing there's some of the expense type of, future planning items. I mean, again, if we look through the CIP, just because it's not on this list doesn't mean that it's not in Sean's CIP. I mean, because, I see this more of a long-term planning document, not necessarily just the next 6 months, the upcoming budget year, the upcoming 2.
Right.
This is something to continue to work from, right?
Right.
Yep. Okay.
This is really helpful to just kind of hear like what you support and the couple that you're like definitely don't do that. That's very helpful. Is there any other direction that the council wants to give us? I'll do my best to take in what I've heard today and thoughts and feelings, but any specific direction that you want to give?
I think reviewing the policy is really big, especially if we're supposed to set the policy. We need to make sure it fits for our community. And then we need to be able to communicate that out to the residents as to what's changing. I think that would be a great focus.
I agree.
Okay, very good. That gets us to the end of the agenda. Comments from city staff, city manager, anything else?
Yeah, I'm on the paper real quick.
You brought too many papers.
So the only comment that we have is, so the county is supposed to submit the property valuations at the end of the calendar year. They have not done that. I think we have about 80 of 85, and we're not one of them. So that's hard. That we need that. Supposedly it's coming sooner than later. But the reason I bring that up is that if it gets too close, we might have to reschedule our budget meeting.
Okay.
We need,
Yeah, right.
So, just wanted to mention that.
Right.
Figure your revenue.
Pam, weren't you checking like 3 times a day before Christmas?
Every hour.
Yeah.
Okay. City clerk, any comments, complaints that come to mind?
Just putting it out there in the universe that the county's been through very quickly.
Okay. Okay, very good. City attorney?
I would have nothing, thank you.
Okay. Abu?
Nothing anymore.
Okay. Rhonda?
I'd just like to welcome Javin, and Abu and I want you to let us know how much you like all the FEMA training and the things that he'll have to get caught up on. All. Let us know how much popcorn it took to get through all those. No, welcome.
No, sir, thank you.
Okay. Janet?
Just want to say thank you to my constituents for the re-election, and then also looking forward to serving with everybody again.
Andy?
Thank you, first responders, for your continued service to our community, most of which goes, at least by the larger public, unnoticed and maybe not as appreciated as I think it should be. Sean, this one's for you, unfortunately. There's a couple. You don't need to address it right now, but maybe we can, next meeting, or shoot me an email or something. There's a railroad crossing sign that fell down or got blown down or something over by the Taco Bell, that major crossing there. It's been laying in the
Both sides.
probably the railroad
Railroad,
right
Yeah.
for quite some time. Just curious if the railroad has made an attempt, or if we can try to have them do
Yeah, it's on
something with
both
that.
sides.
It's on the Taco Bell side.
I can certainly, once again, make the railroad aware of it. Unfortunately, the railroad has a lot of rights that the city cannot supersede, so there's not much actionable that we're able to do about it.
They like to leave their mess, so.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
That'll help. That'll help.
It's a great
Hey,
answer.
Avenue.
And
Yeah.
Sean doesn't want it for your yard
It's a-
ornament, and that's what I'm guessing either,
How about-
right?
I was gonna
In
say,
your house?
somebody could take it.
How about this one here, Sean? The tree trunks on North Market on the west side of the road, they're kind of like, they're on a hill,
Oh,
and they're actually, at some point, I think with the hard rain, or, they're gonna probably roll into the street, but they've been out there for
On North
quite a
Market.
long time, yeah.
3, 4.
But they're in the front yard,
Maybe 5.
4 or 5 feet from the sidewalk. We started talking about all this stuff, and so, no, I can't give you an address right now, but I'd be glad to. Or anytime you're out and about, if you just head north, you'll see them. If you look on the west
I
side.
think it's about the 4 or the 500 block.
Is it more than one property? Or?
No,
No, it's
no.
just-
Apparently he doesn't.
Oh, memory's coming back.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I had to share that. That's all for me.
It's on the
Okay.
west
Joe,
side, so
how
I
about
think
you?
it's
I got
just
one
safe.
thing. I was reviewing our city policies, which is called, what'd you change the name to? Oskaloosa?
Oskaloosa city policy.
Yeah. And I went through them all, but for the council where it talks about voting, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you have a tie vote,
Mm-hmm.
and in there it says, if you have a tie vote, it's closed, right? Yeah. So I looked it up. According to Iowa code, maybe the lawyer can check into this. According to Iowa code, the mayor can vote if it's tied.
I bet the charter.
The charter.
Oh,
The charter.
Home rule
I
has
looked
a
at
lot
the
to do
charter.
with that.
Yes.
That's why I was wondering why in our policies is, what did I just say? No?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't check the charter.
Yeah, it's the charter.
Mm-hmm.
Because Pella's
Mayor
mayor
does.
can vote.
Okay.
Pella's mayor can vote to break a tie.
So can you check the charter?
We're on special charter.
You got it already?
Yeah.
Well, anyways,
Answered.
there was another one of those policies that, I can't think of the name. I might gave you, Sean, my info, but it referenced an Iowa code, and I went and looked it up, and it had to do with safety, wasn't it, Sean? No?
Yeah, it was snow and ice.
Snow and ice. It referenced code 663,
6 point something.
whatever.
Yeah.
I went and looked it up, it didn't say anything about snow and ice. So, it was a liability section or something.
Periodically, they update the state code
Yeah,
course,
and they
and many
change the
times you'll
number,
look
yeah.
and some section no longer exists.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I
But-
looked at all your notes today.
Did you?
Yeah.
But kudos to staff for updating all that.
Gavin,
No,
any
it's-
comments?
Yeah, just thanks for welcoming me and keep up the great work that you guys are doing.
That's us from now on.
Yeah.
And I guess I don't have a lot more to add. Coffee and Conversation. Yeah, that's coming up on Saturday. Once again, sponsored by the Smoky Row will be the venue. We've got Midwest One that's buying the coffee for anybody who wants it. And the sound will be effectively done by George Daly Auditorium. Their representatives there.
Okay.
And so,
Andy.
and I believe Andy is also going to be the moderator,
Oh,
which
nice. I
means
like
that for the folks in the hot seat, it'll be myself and I believe Sean is going to be there with me, and then representation from the county supervisors, maybe all of them again. You won't know what it'll be until you get there, so there's your reason. So anyway, look forward to having that happen, but again, it's this Saturday at Smoky Row.
What time?
8:30. Is that right?
Bring you
9?
8:30.
8:30.
8:30.
8:30, I think, yeah.
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 Yeah, get 30 at 8, that's when the coffee is served. So. Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Moved.
Second.
Why? Oh, okay. We're adjourned.